Hello and welcome to the Radio 690 ADV. I'm Joe, your host, here to sit and talk a little bit to you guys. I'm trying to get back in the saddle, trying to get back to what I am accustomed to doing. It's been a little crazy. I've been telling you about it, and I'm doing my best to slowly get back on track. So I'm here at the office at the 690 studio, which is basically my desk and a podcast recorder. But yeah, trying to get back in the saddle again and get some more, hopefully some more content for you guys to sit back and listen and maybe get some comments on that stuff. Don't forget, you can always comment on anything that we have here. You can comment on our website, which we're revamping right now, 690adv.com. And we got a bunch of new stuff that we're working on for that. We're trying to kind of get stuff put together and get the 690 ADV back on track, get her back on the rails, so the train doesn't stay off the track too long. But yeah, go check out our website. Also, don't forget, be part of our podcast as well. Our podcast, man, make sure you subscribe, make sure you tell all your buddies about it and all that stuff. And make sure that you hit us up, anytime on topics and things that maybe you want to talk about or anything like that. And we're slowly going to start jumping in and working on gear and stuff. And also, I would like to start working on some trip information too, especially for the new riders, because that's really what this is mainly about, is new riders and intermediate riders and riders that are getting into dual sport or are just pretty new to dual sport. Just because you've been riding for 25, 50 years, that doesn't really mean anything if you've never dual sported. It's always good to have somebody there to maybe put you on track or just help you out a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. It's always fantastic. It's always great to have, somebody there to, point you potentially in the right direction or maybe shortcut you to something that you were not, keen, or you spent some time on and you couldn't figure out how to do it. So that's kind of where I come in. I've been doing it for quite a long time, and I do my best to try to help everybody out, especially new riders. But today, we're going to talk about, Yamaha. What's going on? I get that T7, but I've got kind of a little beef I want to get off my chest a little bit with Yamaha a little bit, and I love Yamaha, and we're going to talk about Honda a little bit as well. But first things first, don't forget, just hit that subscribe, man. Make sure that you're part of our podcast. Don't wait. You can get us on all the platforms. I've been trying to find the perfect home for the podcast, and I've just come to terms that that there's no, I think, 100% perfect place, but I think I found one that is going to work pretty well and is going to suit my needs, and it's going to allow me to do what I need to do, and that's going to be Red Circle. So you'll start seeing the new Red Circle stuff that's out there, and they're pretty good. They do a pretty good job. I was with Anchor for a little bit, and not bad, but I think overall, Red Circle is it's more my style. It's more the direction I want to go down, because some of the features, it's mainly boiled down to the features, and some of the features that they have is going to work best for the 690 ADV. That's my personal opinion. Also, support the channel if you want to. We sure could use your support. Any little bit that you can do to help us out would be fantastic. Helps pay for all this stuff that we have. We do our best to try to not use mediocre equipment. We try to use good equipment, and a lot of that comes out of my own pocket because I don't really make anything on YouTube or the podcasting. So any sponsorships or support that you guys would like to help, you can find it on our website. You can also find it on our Red Circle with the podcasting platform online, and that's would just be greatly appreciated. Quick shout out to KTM North Texas, the guys over there, slmracing.com. If you need parts or anything like that, there's no affiliation with the 690 ADV other than they know about the 690 ADV, so let them know that you heard it from me, and they will take care of you over there. Ask for Bert. Bert will take care of you, man. He'll treat you just like family, because that's just who those guys are. And they also ship anywhere in the country. So shop them first. A lot of times they can beat even Amazon's price. So, if you're looking for, something specific, and they don't just work on KTM, they work on just about every make and model that's out there. On to the podcast today. Yamaha. And I love Yamaha. I've owned several Yamahas, and they make such great, fantastic bikes. But it's like, are they playing hide and go seek, or did they just put all their cards into the T7? That I don't know. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are starting to wonder what it is, because, they have the new, T7 or the 700, the Tenere, and it's a great motorcycle. Don't get me wrong. I think overall it's one of the best in the middle range, adventure motorcycles that are out there. It'll do pretty much everything. At the end of the day, it's an adventure bike. It's heavy. I think it would work for just about anybody from, just getting started to guys that have been riding for a while. It'd be a great secondary bike, especially if you have like a KTM 500 or a CRF 450L or, any of those types of bikes, like a 500 or something. I think it would be a great secondary bike to have, in your garage. I mean, you can't go wrong with it, and it's priced right at $9,000. I mean, how do you lose with that bike? For what it is, comparative to the other bikes in its class that are several $1,000s more, across the board. And granted, they may have just a couple of things that are, some beeps and whistles, but at the end of the day, those beeps and whistles aren't going to make you a better rider. You getting out and riding and practicing is what's going to make you a great rider. So that's really what it's all about, getting out and practicing, on your motorcycles. But it seems like Yamaha has just, it's like they forgot about the dual sport line. I don't know what happened. There were all these rumors out there that the 250, was going to go away, which it did. The WR250R, they discontinued that bike, and then the TW200, it's a great bike, but at the end of the day, you're probably not going to be doing now. Granted, I'm sure I'll catch some people that'll say, "Oh, bro, you can do." I know it's all mindset. I know that, and there are some guys that travel all over the place on those things. But if you had to do some highway miles, it might be a little bit of a stretch for that bike. It's going to be a little brutal on you, but I mean, some guys will do it. But what happened with the mid range? And bringing to the topic of Honda, man, and not only Honda, how about Kawasaki too? Especially if you're a new rider coming over into dual sport, a lot of the guys that are looking, and I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong. Remember, always email me, and you can tell me what your thoughts are, because I love to hear from everybody that's out there. Kawasaki with the KLX, that new 300, it's a fantastic bike, man. It's totally awesome. And Honda with their CRF 300 series, the Rally and the L, and but Yamaha. I'm not a giant Suzuki fan, so I don't want to really get into that. But Suzuki makes great motorcycles. Don't get me wrong. They're dual sport bikes. The only one they have is the 200, and then the DRZs are great. I like the DRZ 650. I like the 400 as well. But at the end of the day, I think they're a little overpriced for what they are. But, they're still great, fantastic bikes. I'm a little, maybe I should throw Suzuki. I should throw Suzuki out in there too. What is wrong with them? What is wrong with Yamaha? And let's just, let's just throw Suzuki in there too. What's going on? The WR250R, quintessentially for, the dual sport dirt bike looking motorcycles, they nailed that bike. They totally nailed it. So, if you're a new rider, and here's the deal, you may not be able to go get a brand new one, but if you can find a used one, those things are bulletproof, man. They're totally awesome and fantastic, and they're perfect for everybody. New riders, guys coming over from the street, everything like that. They're pretty easy to ride. They've got really good power, and they'll do the business. Make no mistake about it. They'll totally do the business, and you can get out and have a good time. You can totally travel on them and do all that stuff. But they got rid of that 250R, and I could never understand because they never backfilled it with anything. And for the life of me, maybe I'm going to get kicked in the head by Yamaha because they're double knot spying, man. And they're going behind the curtains and they're just waiting for everybody to finish up. And then bam, they're going to unveil the WR 250R or 450R. And if they open up the 450R to compete with that CRF 450L line, wow. I would be totally blown away. I'd be totally amazed, be totally awesome. And I don't see why they can't. And I think that would be, it would be a game changer, man. I mean, I don't know about you, but I know me. I'm listening. I am listening. I'm telling you, I would totally love to have a WR450R. Get the street version. Now, granted, they're going to have to cut some corners because they would either take away from the YZ platform or they would basically take away from the WR platform. But, a lot of guys will buy WR450Fs and then they'll street legal them because they do have the Enduro lights on the front, and so does the 250F. I've owned a 250F. What an amazing motorcycle. It's a tractor. It goes up hills. It's got tons of low end torque. It's plenty of speed. It's light. You can flick it around like a mountain bike, and you can street legal them, man. You can. There's ways to do that, and if you're wondering, and maybe you're on the fence or you're not really sure exactly what you want to do as far as a dual sport goes, but yet you've been kind of pondering some of these dirt bikes that are really super close to the street legal, like your WR250Fs, your WR450Fs, some of the Honda, the CRFs like the 450X, the 250X, those bikes right there that have the lights built into them. Please hit me up if you want. I'll point you in the right direction on what you can go and get and put just the right lighting on it and get the kits of what you need to do, especially in the state of Texas. It's very easy to plate a motorcycle here in Texas if you ever wanted to know about that, and turn one of those into your own street legal dual sport. Now, granted, I know that your title will say that it is a dirt bike not made for street, but you can go retitle it. You just have to do a little work to make that happen. It's pretty easy. It's not going to sit there and break the bank, and you can make a fantastic dual sport. Now, the thing is, you got to understand that those bikes, the way that they're set up, they are dirt bikes, and you just have to make sure that you understand that going in, because that bike is going to run, the torquing is going to be a whole lot different. The lows and the mids and the highs are going to be totally different than a street bike, and that's why they take a lot of the same engines, but they basically remap them or they reset them up, compression ratios and stuff, so that bike will run a little bit smoother, up in the, the higher gear, stuff like that, so you can get on the road. But if you're okay with that, you can make some really great dual sport bikes that will romp off road. So, but my thing is what's the deal with Yamaha? Even Suzuki. I mean, Suzuki hasn't changed anything in I don't know how long. When's the last time that Suzuki made, a ground breaking change in their dirt side dual sport motorcycles? And I know a lot of guys out there. You got the DR guys. I've got buddies that are DR crazies, man. And and I get it. I do. I totally get it, man. But it sure is nice to get a little bit of a change. KLR went from, all the way up to 2007. And then even granted, they made the change and it was ugly. At least they showed that they could make a change, and and then they discontinue the KLR, and then what do? They bring it back. So and not only bring it back, they brought it back, and it's even uglier than the last model. So I mean, at least they're staying consistent. But at the end of the day, at least they are making attempts and sort of making changes, and they're trying to make some they're trying. How's that? They're trying. So, but it breaks my heart that Yamaha, I know they sit there and they say it's because of the emissions and all that stuff with, the United States and things like that. But that WR250R was just a huge staple to the dual sport market, loved by I can't count how many people. I don't think you'll ever find a bad review on one. I mean, I just don't. And if you do, you couldn't please that guy or girl, whoever owns that bike. And why can't Yamaha bring us a 450? Why? Maybe it's in the works. I don't know. Tell me, man, if you're listening to this, and you can comment, on the platform or whatever you're on, please put it on there, and don't forget, also give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps the podcast out too, because the more reviews we get, the better we get placed. And then, the better we could, probably, rank and get our podcast a little higher in the Apple Podcast. But not only that, I just don't understand. It totally just floors me and blows my mind. And we're going to be syndicating all of our podcast over to YouTube again, just because there's guys that just, I had a fantastic guy going, man, I didn't know you could do a podcast on YouTube. And then he wanted to know how to go and actually just listen to him on the podcast and stuff. So he's in for a treat. If you really, really, truly liked it, I've got 100 and something podcasts, we're going to start cranking them out again, because I like doing podcasts. They're so much fun because I can sit and it can just be me. I don't have a camera on me, and I don't have to sit there and, take 1, take 2, take 3, take 9, take 80, you know what I'm saying? And then go sit and do the editing after you're all done. It's kind of, podcasts are almost pretty much a one take wonder. And it's really kind of fun because, it allows me to just, kind of be me, and I don't have to sit there and worry about a camera. But anyway, Yamaha in not bringing us another bike other than the T7, I think it's just, it's awful. It's a shame, especially with all the other manufacturers that are just cranking out bikes, and they're giving us all these different choices. And Yamaha, for what they are, makes just fantastic motorcycles, and I just feel they're missing the boat. But then again, in the back of my mind, they've got something up their sleeve. I just know they do. And they do. They've got to, man. You just can't. They cannot not see what's going on. They can't. Then again, maybe they can. Maybe they are missing it. Maybe they don't care. I don't know. So, I don't know. I don't know. It just blows my mind, and I had to get that off my chest a little bit, because I did a video not too long ago on the Yamaha, when they discontinued the 250R. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Why would you do that? Find a way to do it, man. Fuel inject it. Do whatever you got. I don't care what you got to do. Just get it to where it meets emissions and make it happen, because the bike is just fantastic, whatever. I don't care. New muffler, new whatever. So... But, it pretty much kind of broke my heart a little bit, and Suzuki, come on, man. We're tired of looking at bikes that look like they're stuck in 1989, I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, they look kind of cool, but we want some new looks, man, some new plastics, some new fairings, some new stuff like that, But I guess it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. So, but as far as like new riders and stuff like that go, if you are listening to this podcast, man, if you can find a WR250R, bro, get it. Especially if it's priced right. Go grab that thing, because that thing's bulletproof. It'll last you a very, very, very long time. And if you're in for a new, man, check out those Kawasaki's and those Hondas, man, because those Kawasaki's and those Hondas are awesome. They're getting great reviews. Everybody's loving them. They're saying that they do great on the road, much better than their 250 counterpart. And the power's much better. And the pricing's right. I mean, you can't beat these things. I mean, the numbers are totally right. I mean, you're talking like $5,000-$6,000. Come on, man. If you can't afford $5,000-$6,000, just mow some lawns. Go mow some lawns. So go raid your attic. Go in your garage, grab all those things that you're not using anymore. Go get an old laptop that you're not doing and sell it on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or anything like that. And man, get that cash, man, and go get you a new bike. Don't make excuses, man. Excuses are for people that just don't want to do it. Everybody's got an excuse these days. If you truly want it, you can have it. You just got to figure out a way to do it, man. I'm not saying going out and do something stupid, but what I am saying is that if you're willing to put a little time, a little work, a little effort, you can get pretty much whatever you want. So, but that's my beef today is Yamaha and why Yamaha's where they're at, and maybe through Suzuki and they're just out of the blue. Why do we got to look at the old 1980 looking plastics and frames and all that stuff? It's just kind of boring. Why can't they update some stuff? And kudos to Kawasaki and kudos to Honda for, putting out some new stuff and I think it's fantastic. I think it's awesome. And it's a good day, especially if you are a new rider and listen to this. There's so much more new stuff that's coming. There's always the rumors and stuff, but it's going to happen. And if you're just getting into dual sporting, what makes it so fantastic is the journey doesn't have to end when you're on the concrete or the asphalt. You can always go down that dirt road. As many times as maybe you've been riding on your street bike and you're sitting there cruising down the road and you just passed a dirt road, but you saw it as far as the eye can see. And you just look down that road. I do it all the time, man, especially on my dual sport, because I've been riding dual sport for a very long time. And I look down dirt roads, and the one thing that goes through my mind always, where does that go? Oh, well, I'm on the right bike. Let's go check it out. And that's the beauty part. You can do that. And you can do it on a street bike. It's not smart. It's not safe. But you can, especially when you're up in the mountains and stuff like that. That's where it really separates itself, is the dual sporting. So if you're thinking about getting into dual sporting, maybe you're listening to this for the first time and just hearing about things and stuff. I'm always going to talk about new riders, and I'm always going to talk about some of those things. And I'm also going to talk about what makes dual sporting so fantastic. It's just all the things. And I'm really going to start posting up a lot of the pictures and stuff. So make sure you check out the 690adv.com. I'm going to have post moto trips. I've got a bunch of them up there. I've got literally thousands of pictures. So, especially if you're a new rider and stuff, and you really want to see what it's like to go on a moto adventure with your friends and your buddies and stuff like that. And maybe you don't have buddies. Maybe you don't know anybody. Well, you know what? That is kind of where Facebook can come in. I know the last podcast, I kind of put the slam down on Facebook and stuff like that, but there are some good groups out there, and you can get a lot of local groups that you can kind of sift through the garbage, but you can find some really super cool riders and some super cool guys that are local. I've done it here. And, and you can get out and ride with some of these guys and maybe you'll hit it off on a ride and maybe you won't, but that doesn't mean you don't have to ride with those guys, but you may meet somebody really, really super cool and you guys can get out and do a little adventure time, because that's really what it's all about, man. It's hopping into those towns and getting on the bikes and gassing up and maybe toting your tent, maybe you're going for 2 days or maybe you're going for 2 weeks. That's what makes it really awesome. Anyway, thanks for stopping in. Thanks for being part of the podcast. And thanks for, everybody reaching out, and just saying super nice things and being really super cool and understanding, that sometimes you just have to stop doing certain things to get your head straight, and that's really what happened with me and YouTube and podcasting and all that stuff is I needed a break, but I'm pretty much back and it's taken a little bit to get going, but I'll get the grease on the wheel and we'll get it going. And like I said, any thoughts or anything, new riders or anything, don't ever feel bashful, man. Email me, put it out there, hit me up on Facebook, facebook.com/690adv. Man, who, what, when, where, how, I don't care. Hit me up, man. There's no stupid question ever. You only get stupid answers. Hey, I'm Joe, Radio 690 ADV. Thank you so much for stopping in. And don't forget, subscribe, be part of the 690 ADV. Don't forget our website, 690adv.com. And go in there and subscribe, man. Make sure you're part of it, because when we do giveaways, if you are not part of the 690 ADV subscription, you can't win. Anyway, thanks so much. Have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. I'm Joe 690 out.